Hello, I'm starting.
Hi, ma'am. We'll begin the session now. So we're actually waiting for more participants to join. I think we're good to go. So good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Science and Research Club (BMCRI), I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Today, we are gathered here for a very special career guidance session titled "White Coat: What's Next?" We are truly honored to have with us Dr. Pooja P Jain, who completed her MBBS right here in BMCRI and later pursued her MMST at IIT Kharagpur. She will elaborate on this. Her inspiring journey from clinical medicine to the interdisciplinary world of medical technology gives her a unique perspective that I'm sure will be very valuable to all of us as we think about our own careers. Can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Pooja, please? Also, we would like to heartily welcome Dr. Sneha Chinchanur ma'am from the microbiology department. We are really grateful you could make time out of your busy schedule to join us today, ma'am. A round of applause for Sneha ma'am as well.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. Without further delay, let's welcome Dr. Pooja to guide us through the diverse opportunities that lie beyond the white coat. Pooja ma'am, over to you.
Uh, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for the very nice introduction. And thank you to Sneha ma'am again because I met her and I think that's how she got me in contact with Siri and then this talk is happening. I am also very thrilled to be here and talking about my journey, how it has been, what are the kinds of problems I faced and how I ended up being here. And I would love to interact with all of you and guide you if you need any thing from my side. So just to give a short presentation, I'll just share my screen. Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. Okay, so talking about careers beyond medicine, I would like to say that when I was in the same place as you guys, I was like really confused. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I mean, I think I have to backtrack a little bit before I joined BMC, just to give a glimpse of how dynamic career journeys can be. So before I joined BMC, like all of you, I scored really well in my NEET and my boards. And originally, I had an interest to go into research. I was aspiring to join IISc. But then there was some problem with the exam that year, and the results got cancelled. I had to write the exam again. But somehow I got very good rank in medical, and that's how I ended up in BMC. I mean, I wanted to go into research, but then I asked a very close professor of mine, and he told me, you can do research anytime. If you're a doctor, people will come to you and they'll be willing to do research with you. So why do you want to let go of an opportunity to first do medical? So this was his advice to me, and that's how I joined medical. It was not like I was aspiring to be a doctor. But it was a good journey. I did learn a lot. I really enjoyed the subjects. But towards the end of my medical school, I started to realize that I really didn't want to sit in a clinic and see patients. I mean, I was not feeling very excited about that. I rather wanted to invent things. I wanted to come up with protocols. I wanted to, come up with devices which can also help patients, but at a different stage of their care. So that's how I was looking for other options. I was, in fact, going through a lot of YouTube videos about alternate career paths after MBBS. I was trying to talk to people about this, and the information is quite less out there. So, like everyone else, I decided that okay, I will do PT itself because I couldn't find other options. So I finished a few months of my rural service, and then I joined Marrow because that felt like the closest you can get to a corporate experience being a medical student or a medical doctor. So that was a good experience. And then after that, it was by chance that I came across this course called MMST, which is Masters in Medical Science and Technology. So when I came across this, I was still very unsure, should I take it or not. I just decided to give the exam and then decide what to do. But then it turned out to be a very good opportunity for me personally, because I was looking for a way out into research, and this course gave me that way out. So after that, I went to IIT Strasbourg, which is a very leading lab in surgical data science in France, for my internship after my final year. And after I graduated from my course, I am currently working as a clinical scientist in a US-based company called Anumana. It's in Bangalore itself, and we are working with ECG analysis. So just to that was my journey overall. It has been like a big roller coaster. It has been very uncertain, to be frank. I didn't know where it was going, but I think I liked where I have ended up today, and there is a lot more that I can do in this field as well. So just to give you an idea about just to give you an idea about what this course MMST is, it's called Masters in Medical Science and Technology. It's an interdisciplinary program wherein you're taught all the engineering aspects of medicine, like whatever medical technologies that can be used in healthcare. You're exposed to all these fields. So it can be AI, it can be imaging, image analysis, it can be biomaterials, biomedical devices. It's a lot of options, and also we have a lot of elective courses which we can take in other departments. For example, in mechanical department, in robotics, even in management, if you want to go into translational health research, or in law, if you want to go towards IP rights of how to patent your medical invention. So there's a lot of variety of things that you get exposed to. And the best part of the course is that it's specially designed for doctors. So the eligibility is that you should be an MBBS graduate to get into the course. So this is something which is different from some of the other medical technology courses. IIT Kharagpur, which I've put a photo here, it's a very beautiful campus, is the only place in India which offers this course. All over India, there's nothing else. Abroad as well, it's quite rare. There are 1 or 2 schools. There is Texas University, and I think 1 or 2 schools in Europe which offer such a course for doctors to get exposed to medical technology. And MMST is one such course. So if anyone is interested, just to put it out there, you have to apply in December, and the exam would be in March. It's conducted by GATE. And it has basic 12th level of physics, chemistry, maths, a few questions, and the rest of it is MBBS-based questions. Not as tough as NEET, so it is something which you can crack easily. And if you want more information, you can find it over here in this thing. I can share you the link later as well. And we basically have a department in IIT Kharagpur called School of Medical Science and Technology. So this department has many interesting labs which are doing very leading research in the field of medical technologies. So just to give an example, we have biomaterials lab where we have people working on how to develop new stents, how to develop vascular grafts, what kind of materials can be used, which is not, which does not cause any reaction, and then how to develop new kinds of dressing so that burns patients can be healed faster, so that it doesn't stick on the wound. There are so many things just in one example. If I give biomaterials, if I give other examples, there are also wet lab related things. So we have medical biotechnology, coming up with newer treatment for cancer, doing a lot of machine learning even for cancer treatment. So it's quite interesting. It feels very okay. How is that possible? Because it's a machine learning, it's AI being used for cancer treatment, like coming up with cancer treatment with a lot of drug development happening. And we also have purely AI and imaging related labs, which are looking at a lot of EHR data, a lot of the pre-operative scans, how we can use this during the operation, things like this. So what are the opportunities after MMST with whatever I've seen with my seniors? So this course basically started in 2020, although it has not been that famous because very few people know about it. That's the problem of it. So the opportunities after MMST can be that you can go into PhD, you can continue PhD, or you can go into research scientist kind of roles. You can go to medtech industry roles like I am right now in my company. So I'm a clinical scientist. So you can go to core research, you can go into regulatory affairs, operations, marketing. You can get into entrepreneurship. You can start your own startup. I have seniors who have started their own startups. It's doing very well. And you can go into healthcare consulting, policy making, ethical AI is a field that's coming up now. And the other option is, of course, to go into academia if you want to become a professor. One of my alumni is an assistant professor again in my institute itself. So there are a lot of opportunities. It's not a fixed path, I would say, but you can make space for yourself. So that is about MMST. But just to give a very broad idea of what other options are there, and you must already know, and I don't have very detailed information about them, but these are some things which I've come across when I was looking for alternate options, and when I was trying to connect to people. I do have friends who have done MBA after MBBS. They are doing very well. I mean, they're being paid very well, and they like their jobs. That is most important. And you can go into community medicine, MPH, for public health, etc. You can get into digital health. You can directly also go as a consultant into companies. I mean, not just after MMST, even now, there is a lot of need for doctors, for medical students, because there's so much data out there. And what I've seen is engineers want to use that data, but they don't know how to use the data. So they really want doctors in between to help them figure it out. So there's a lot of scope in that as well. If you want to directly learn things on your own, you can do that as well. Then you can go into law, like medical legal cases are there, patents, IP, or you can even, you can immediately start thinking of your own ideas. You don't have to do another post-graduation course. You can start your own startup right now. But how do you decide what you want? It's based on what your intention was before joining MBBS, what you want your life to be, what is something that excites you. That is very important. Because for me, I felt like research really excited me, like innovating something really excites me. And stability, or that conventional, atypical, if you want to like take a new path which no one has taken, if you want to go a new way, so then you have to look at other options. But I mean, of course, there is no harm in going the conventional path. It's absolutely great. We need doctors. But also, I understand that it can be confusing. It can be that you're not sure yet. And it's good to explore options, of course. So I just wanted to give a brief of what I've worked during my MMST and right now as well, just to show you a glimpse of how this whole world of medical technologies is. So in my first year, I started working on this project called paper-based sensor test for HPV detection. It's basically like a point of care device. So right now, HPV is detected with the help of DNA test, pap smear, and then DNA test, right? Which can be quite costly and also quite difficult in very remote areas. For example, if there are sex workers, stigma about it and all that. So what we had developed was, what we're trying to develop was a paper-based sensor, a point of care device that they can just use it at their home. It is based on electrochemical reactions basically, and we will have a aptamer which binds and gives a reaction based on some chemical constituency. And another thing I worked on in my second year was modular whole slide imaging. So whole slide imaging is basically, I don't know how many of you are in third year exposed to pathology and everything, but whole slide imaging is where we scan the whole slide and we have a digital image of the slide. So what happens when we have a digital image of a slide, a pathologist doesn't have to like sit hours together in front of the microscope, string his or her eyes, and then things get very fast. We can do remote diagnosis. We can do AI-based diagnosis, even if not, we are not yet at the level of AI alone diagnosing something, but we can do a lot of screening. I mean, if you have 100 slides, if the AI can just screen out the normal ones and give 5 slides to the pathologist that, you look at these, which might have some disease condition. So that is like a lot of work reduced to the pathologist, right? And it's a lot more accuracy in terms of the results as well. So this is one direction where there's a lot of research happening. And what we had developed was to have a add-on kind of a system which can be used over the existing microscopes so that any slide can convert it into a digital image, so that you don't have to spend like lakhs of rupees on some of these WSI systems. We also presented this in a conference in Singapore. Then another project I was working on that during my third year was surgical AI, basically using AR system for safe surgery and for safe oocyte retrieval. So what we were doing is we were taking preoperative scans of a patient, finding the, this is the 3D model of the organ, which is created from the scans, just from the CT or MRI scans. And then during the surgery, we give this information to the surgeon so that they have a real-time guidance about what are the structures, how they can navigate inside. And we also did a pilot study with a laparoscopy simulator setup. This is something which is again AI-based because it has to see whether it's going in the right path. This was something we tried for oocyte retrieval for infertility treatment. So whenever the needle is going out of path, or it's touching, some important blood vessel, or it's touching an endometriosis lesion, it's going to get contaminated. So that's when it gives a signal to the surgeon that, you're going in the unsafe path. So there's a buffer path. You're going in that, get back to the correct path. So this is somewhat like a intuitive feedback-based systems that are being developed. This was my work which I did in France. It was basically to predict the workflow of any surgery based on the image. So we have a lot of laparoscopic data with us because laparoscopic videos are something which is easily available, and everyone's trying to move towards laparoscopy from open surgery. Although India is lacking a little bit, but I think it'll get there. So we have all this information, and we were trying to do analysis over those videos based on some computer vision methods, and this was my AI algorithm. We are trying to give the surgeon the information that it is in the phase of, for example, this particular image, it's going to tell that it's in the phase of anastomosis. This is for colorectal surgery. And then it will also tell that the step that is being conducted is stapler parts approximation. So this was quite an exploratory work. After this, what we are planning to do is that, okay, we are in this phase and we are in this step. So what can go wrong in this phase? So the AI would give information that, okay, this can go wrong. And then it can give information, it can then detect adverse effects or like some complication is happening. And it can also analyze workflows. For example, okay, this is the entire duration of the surgery. This particular surgeon did P1, P2, P3, and then P12. But another surgeon did P12 and then P1, P2, P3. And then finding the outcomes, whether which was better, like which particular workflow was better. So, all this is going towards making surgery safety, towards making more precise healthcare, basically. And then the final thing, like what I am working on presently, I can't disclose all the details, but then what our company is doing is taking up ECG data. So like I mean, you also must have seen this image, or if you've not yet come to that, you'll certainly struggle a lot in your internship or fourth year to recognize patterns in ECGs. How much ever you try to remember them, how much ever you try to learn them, somehow when a patient is in front of you with chest pain and you have to read the ECG, it's like, I'm not sure kind of a thing. And this is given like the 10 or 20 kinds of patterns that we have learned in medical school. But what if we give all this data, which is like, millions of data of so many patients, to AI, and we tell it, okay, you find the patterns that you think of is correct. And this is what Mayo Clinic tried, which is collaborating with my company Anumana. And what they found out was that surprisingly, AI was able to find some of the patterns that even humans, even the best doctors of Mayo Clinic could not find these patterns. But the AI algorithm, which was trained on such a variety of data, could find it. And further on, when they validated it with the echo results, they have done it for one condition, low ejection fraction, basically heart failure. So when they try to do it with heart failure, what they found was that by using AI, they could even find the diagnosis before it presented in the echo. So what it means that there is better detection, better pattern detection by AI before the actual clinical symptoms can occur. So this is a huge kind of impact which it can have if it is developed for all disease conditions, and if it can be generalized again, right? So that's about things that I have worked on, touched upon a little bit, but there's also a lot more happening in this field, a lot of interesting things. I couldn't get time to put in all the research papers and the images for this, but anyone who is interested can just read up about these things, find journal papers on it, and you'll really be amused about the kind of research that's happening. In drug development, there's so much on predicting what would be the mortality rate, predicting like, okay, these are the factors which are causing this mortality, so how can we modify these factors? And then there is research happening in digital twins. In fact, TCS like Tata is working on this a lot. They're trying to have a digital copy of you, basically. Basically, like your genetics, your history, your whole scan. So everything is ready, and the decisions can be taken based on that. And then there is a lot happening in stroke rehabilitation. Many devices for stroke. Something very interesting is one of my professor working in IIT Delhi. He has come up with a gaming device basically, which helps in certain moments for a stroke patient, which are important. It's basically kind of physiotherapy for stroke patients. But because it's gamified and there are rewards and it looks very nice, the patient ends up um, doing the rehabilitation a lot more, and there is a lot of success rates in that. And there is also a lot, I had helped a little bit with EMG analysis. EMG is basically you take the electrical impulses from the muscle. So what you can do is, for example, if there's an amputated patient, you take the impulses from the last point, and then you have a prosthetic device, or it's called an exoskeleton in this case, and you give that input to the exoskeleton. So you can still perform the actions which the person intends to perform, but without the muscles. You are basically giving like an artificial limb, which has input from the patient itself. Now, there's a lot happening in surgical robotics, in personalized medicine. There's so much happening in longevity space also, which is quite surprising. And wearables, of course, long-term monitoring, diabetes monitoring, BP monitoring, and software as a medical device, which is, I mean, example can be the ECG AI itself. So just to give some take-home tips, I don't want to bore you for a long time. We as medical students never ever think that LinkedIn is important, that connections are important. But this is one thing I really want all of you to take very seriously. LinkedIn is a very wonderful platform where you can connect to a lot of people. You can find opportunities which you would have never expected. And it helps a lot in your career growth, especially if you want to take this alternate path kind of a thing, and try to make connections, try to go to conferences, workshops, try to meet similar minded people, try to get international exposure. I know it's a little difficult in India, but with what I've seen abroad, medical students elsewhere actually go for few months of observership, fellowship, things like this, which really add a lot, because the research situation or the research environment abroad is very nice. So you get very inspired once you see that kind of whole thing, and then follow research, follow papers, podcasts. Try to develop an entrepreneurial mindset. Don't think that your task is just to read the protocols, follow the protocols, learn how to handle things. You should always try to think of how you can solve it. You all know that healthcare delivery is also not the perfect thing in India. There is so much scope for improvement. There's so much scope not just in medical technology. There's so much scope in how you learn things, how medicine is taught. For example, for a medical student, try to think of ideas whenever you feel bad, whenever you feel that, okay, this is a problem, I don't like the way this is. Try to think of what you would do to change that, and talk to people about it, because everyone is looking for input from doctors. They're looking for input from students, because in this case, the doctor is the end customer, right, who would be using any of the technologies for that matter. So everyone would love to hear what you have to say. Just keep note of your problems, try to solve it, try to come up with ideas of how you can solve it. Then develop writing skills. It will help you a lot in research at any point in your research. Read journal papers, be updated with the most recent things that are happening. Start somewhere, maybe contribute to some paper just to write it, or for data analysis. Just start somewhere, even if it is remotely. And one more very important thing is to collaborate with other students. So engineering students are looking for doctors to join the team, but they don't know how to reach out. So basically, you should collaborate with them. That a lot can happen with this kind of an interdisciplinary, mindset. You need to, of course, you will have your friends from 11th from school who have gone in the path of engineering. So connect with them. Think of what you can do. There are a lot of hackathons also where this kind of thing is very much encouraged. I think recently there was one in Jitmar where they were taking engineering students and medical students together to solve problems. And I think that's it from my side. Medicine is your foundation, it's your training. It will help you a lot, but it's not your limit. It's not something that is restricting you. It is something that will help you a lot in the future. And it's not like you have to take unconventional paths, but keeping this in mind, keeping the kind of advances that are happening in medicine, I would say that have an foot over there. Try to keep in touch, even if you are doing clinical practice, well and good. Try to do some consultancy with that. Try to get involved in the research development of all these medical devices, because if we are not giving input to it, then there's no point of developing all these so much of putting so much money, so many startups coming in healthcare. There's no point of that if they don't take the input of a doctor, because we know what it is in a clinic. You know what your patient needs. So even if you're practicing, always try to make some time for research. Try to be part of innovation, even if not research. Try to give consultancy to companies who are developing such devices. And yeah, don't worry, you'll figure it out. But I'm happy that such kind of talks are happening and you're getting exposed to different options. Yeah, I think that's it from my side. If you have any questions, I can take that.
Thank you for that wonderful session, ma'am. I'm sure everyone here has gained a lot of clarity and inspiration. Now we'll open the floor for questions. If anyone from the audience or Dr. Sneha ma'am would like to ask something or contribute your insights, please feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat, and we'll call upon you to speak. Meanwhile, we do have a few questions that we had received. Um, Pooja ma'am, is it okay if we start with those?
Yeah.
All right. So the first one is, how can we begin developing interdisciplinary skills during MBBS itself? What skills can we develop and how to not get overwhelmed?
Uh, yeah, that's a good question, especially the last part, because we have enough things on our plate and it always feels like, why take that extra effort? Why do something else? But I would say that if like, try to find things that you enjoy, so it does not feel like that extra effort you're putting. It feels like a distraction. But like I told, approach engineering students, approach a lot of health tech hackathons are happening right now, which is open to everyone. So I mean, and it does not even need that much of an effort. It's something that will help you think in that direction. It will help you to get connections. So I would say participate in these kind of events, and try to talk to people also outside just your medical field. There are people who are doing law. There are people who are doing MBA. So talk to them. You will get a lot of ideas that way.
Thank you, ma'am. Um, if if there are no questions in the chat box, and if there are no questions from the audience, we'll move on to the next question. If any questions, please raise your hand. All right. So the next one is, what kinds of roles or industries do MMST graduates typically enter after completing the program?
wanted to actually talk about this in the slides, but I forgot. So I'll just talk a small sample of people that I know of, my seniors and where they are. A lot of people are in GE Healthcare, in Siemens. There are there are companies like Stryker. There are a lot of startups again in this field. There are, people are in imaging kind of field, people are in big data, many people are in pharma, and many people are in managerial roles actually, because having that kind of a broad overview of both medicine and technology, it helps a lot in the product development. So a lot of people are product managers, and this is regarding the industry. And like I told, one of my senior has a company called OrthoHeal in Gujarat. Basically, what they do is the POP cast. Instead of a POP cast, they have these very flexible casts, which also have a lot of holes in them. So they does not have problems of itching and long-term suffocation, the carpal tunnel syndrome, compression, and all those things. And also it has a zip, so you can remove it and you can take bath at sometimes. So this is a company that he's leading from almost, I think, 7-8 years. And there are also people who have gone ahead and then PhDs, gone into the academic role. But this is mostly about companies.
Thank you, ma'am. Sneha, ma'am, thank you for being so patient. Really appreciate it. We would love to hear what you have to say. Sneha, ma'am, I'm not sure if you
Yeah,
can.
sorry, I could not unmute earlier. So first of all, hearty congratulations to the SRC team and Dr. Pooja for such a wonderful, presentation. And just to add to what already has been discussed, very rightly said, breaking the barriers will change a lot, So, and in addition to whatever Pooja has said, see, if you are really passionate about research and you are not sure whether you want to deviate from the typical MD/MS path, you can be a clinician, you can be a faculty in a medical college and still fulfill your research, desire. For example, me and my colleague, we went to IISc, Indian Institute of Science. We approached the faculty, and once we build that rapport, we have done a lot of projects together. See, sitting in a medical college, sitting in your own department, you can't do much because it is something which needs interdisciplinary collaboration. So that's how we initiated, and we have taken up research projects on Raman spectroscopy for rapid bacterial identification. We have come up with a point of care test using aptamers for Vibrio toxin, identification, just to give few examples. So if you are really passionate, one is to go ahead and do courses like what Dr. Pooja has done. In addition, if you're not so sure, you don't want to leave that comfort zone, you want to be a clinician or you want to be a faculty in medical college, you can still go ahead and fulfill that research or that itch for the research anytime. All that it needs is motivation and that self drive, that is what is important. Congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sneha, ma'am, both for attending the session as well as for your inputs. We also have a question in the chat box. Since we are deviating from the regular path of a medico, how do we develop the assurance that all our hard work does not go in vain? I think Sneha ma'am has partly answered this question. Pooja ma'am, if you have something to add, please do so.
When you last time, I was thinking that it feels like, a truly interdisciplinary kind of a department now, with so much nice research happening. And like you rightly said, if you stay in your comfort zone, and if you're just like, okay, this is the path that everyone follows, and this is enough, then it's not going to take you to the next level take you to where you want to be. So you need to take that kind of risk. You need to approach people. They might say no, they might not be interested, but you need to give a try, especially being in a place like BMC where there's so much of patience. The best of the best are there, the best of the teachers are there. So it's a lot of scope. I agree that these kind of things are not done usually, so it does not come as your first option. But try to develop that kind of a mindset from now. Do a little bit of research. You can just go be part of existing research. Tell that you'll help with no benefits of yours, but you will get so much from just that experience of helping someone who's doing research, right? That is one thing. And regarding the question, I would say that it is very uncertain. I mean, with MMST, I would like to say that every year, if 10 students join the course, 2 students would drop in the first month, because they would be waiting for NEET and keep this as a backup kind of a thing, which is still okay because everyone is not sure of what they want to do. It is quite a risky path to take, but with whatever I've seen and with whatever my seniors I have seen, there is a lot of demand for people like us. If you're truly interested, if you're really interested to be in such a field, there is, everyone loves to have a doctor on their team. It can be research, it can be an entrepreneurship thing, it can be a legal team. Anyone would love, okay, there is a doctor on my team. They would love to show that off. So there is a lot of scope in this area. But if you're interested, if you're someone who loves clinical medicine, if you love practicing, then I would say that don't come in this path. You will not like it because it's very little of clinical, practice. I've also seen MMST graduates who have gone back to do their MD and then go practice. Maybe they do some kind of analysis with the patients that they get, with the data they get, but they love being in clinics, so they do that. So it depends on what you really love. But there is a lot of opportunities out there, especially in this era, is what I would like to say.
Thank you, ma'am. We have 2 more questions left. So one of them is, how is the syllabus opportunities different from biomedical engineering course, which is a BE BTech course?
Yeah, so there is, to give an idea of the Indian context, there is masters in biomedical, which is very similar to what I have been describing, and it's available in IIT Delhi, in IIT Hyderabad, and there's also a very similar medtech course in IIT Jodhpur. So these are the other places that you can go to if you're interested in something like this. But all of them are not exclusively for doctors. So you also have engineers with you. You also have people who have done their BTech and then they're coming for their masters. So this is a master's level course. Don't compare it to a bachelor's level course. So if you are doing it with someone who has done their bachelor's, so firstly you will find it very difficult to cope unless you have done some kind of preparation on your own. I know a lot of people in my company, they've learned coding on their own. They've learned everything that they want to know on their own. But there are a lot of online courses you can, of course, learn. But if you have not done that kind of a preparatory thing, it'll become difficult for you if you go to any other course. In MMST, we have the first year, which is very it's almost like a BTech. Basics are taught in the first year. Basics of programming, basics of statistics, things like this. So you are more equipped to handle the other courses. And also, what is nice about IIT Kharagpur, like I told, we have a very nice department which is doing a lot of medical technology related research. It is available in other institutes, or if you go to biomedical masters in other institutes, you would be restricted to one or two areas that the professors will be working on. It's not like they have a dedicated medical technology school. So what we have in IIT Kharagpur is a dedicated school for medical technology. So you get a lot of opportunities for projects. Like whatever projects I did, it was during my coursework itself. But because it was in my department itself, I could do it in my weekends, and I had that kind of an opportunity. So that is one thing. And about the syllabus, if you ask me, like I told, the first year is the basics, and then the second years you have like medical imaging, biomedical instrumentation, pathological image analysis, and then you have electrics, you have robotics. You can take all these things in the second year. You have a lot of electives, and you also have a minor project that you have to do. There are two minor projects for the 2 semesters. And then in the third year is when you do your whole thesis project. So one whole year you have to work on one research topic. This usually students of MMST do outside, because like people are willing to take you up abroad also. So most of them do this final year internship abroad, like I did it in France. A lot of people did in Siemens, in Harvard, things like this. And in the end, you have to present your thesis project, which is graded. So this is the syllabus.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a very detailed explanation. We have one last question. If anyone from the audience has any questions, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, we will move on to the questions that we have. And that will be the last question for the day. All right. So, ma'am, the question is, what were the biggest challenges you faced while shifting away from traditional clinical roles?
Yeah, so I think the biggest and only challenge for me was to explain to people why I'm doing this, because everyone is like, why would you want to do that? Starting from my parents and to family. Even now, I keep getting these questions in family functions that why are you being that typical engineer in front of a computer when you can be a doctor? So that was the biggest difficulty for me, which has been. But otherwise, I think as long as I am liking what I'm doing, it shouldn't matter. And also, I think another difficulty was to make companies or to make other people understand how I can contribute to their work, because they've not seen a doctor in this field. So it's quite new for them also. Yeah.
Right. And with that, we will be ending the session, ma'am. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Oh, nothing else from my side. Thank you so much, all of you, for listening. If you have any doubts or if you want any advice, even with the other parts after MBBS, you can reach out to me. I think I can put my email ID in the chat if anyone wants to reach out to me. But otherwise, like, I would say to keep hustling and try to explore beyond this medicine. You don't have to go that path, but just try to explore.
That was truly enriching, ma'am. On behalf of the Science and Research Club, BMCRI, I sincerely thank you, Dr. Pooja P Jain, for sharing your time, experiences, and wisdom with us today. Your journey shows us that medicine is not just a career, but a calling with countless paths that are possible, and it's up to us to find the one that's right for each of us. Thank you once again, ma'am. We would also like to heartily thank Dr. Sneha Chanchurur for attending this session and actively participating in it. Thank you, ma'am. I also thank our audience for joining and participating so actively. We hope this session has sparked new ideas for your future. With that, we conclude today's event. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. Siri ma'am, you wanted to share something?
Yes. Okay. For me personally, I really wanted to thank both Pooja ma'am and Sneha ma'am for the session. The session was actually scheduled twice and then cancelled back, and we finally had the session today. Thank you, Pooja ma'am, for being so patient with us. I mean, she really wanted to have an offline session where she could interact more with the students and all that, but sorry we could not have that for you. But thank you so much, ma'am. And Sneha ma'am, thank you so much for introducing Pooja ma'am to us. And this was a really wonderful session. And I am personally really interested in this path. Like, I wanted to go into the path of research after my MBBS, and it truly inspired me.
Sure. For organizing this, and I'm very happy you have a science and research club which is so active, trying to do so many things. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. We will now disperse the meeting. Thank you so much.